Yo, 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 this moment I have been waiting so long, man, so long. Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did not expect to get the Unohana Kenpachi versus Kenpachi Zaraki. I did not expect that to happen in this episode. I honestly am just absolutely shocked. I thought it was gonna happen next week, not this week. And when this started to happen in this episode, I was like, wait. I'm actually getting this. I'm legitimately getting one of my favorite moments finally animated. Easily the best moment of the entire episode. I think everybody can collectively agree it's amazing. And I think anyone that is an anime only is probably just stunned. Stunned with the absolute, realization that Unohana, this healing captain, one of the captains that many would assume at this point before this reveal, was like a pacifist healer type character. And when you see this individual just straight up is a Kenpachi. She is a master swordsman. She was basically a criminal, a part of the original Gote 13. It's just like, oh my goodness, she is violent. And what a moment. What a scene. Let's dive into this. Let's talk about what makes this scene so good and why I am just honestly excited for it. Because I want to keep it real with you. Kenpachi is my favorite character. If I'm not counting like the main cast, Kenpachi is my favorite. I've always loved his character, and I think it kind of speaks for itself why. But to kind of explain, I like the brute force nature of his character. It's very simplistic why I like him, but I've always loved Kenpachi because he's just literally a guy with a sword, a buff man, that beats the crap out of his opponent with his sword without using a shikai or a bankai. I mean, literally his sword represents his fighting style, just how abused and beaten it is, as he just continuously beats, anyone in his way, like he's using a club or something with his sword. It's honestly hilarious and entertaining, and I've always loved his fights, I've always loved his moments, and just when he takes off the eye patch and everything, he's an incredible fighter. I love his moments. It's just, I don't know, it's very showy, very flashy. And so when you see this fight, it's just like, wait a minute. You're telling me Unohana and Kenpachi had a fight in the past. Kenpachi's scar is from Unohana, and the scar on Unohana is from Kenpachi. They obviously have fought, and they never really got to fully settle their battle, and that is finally happening. And this kind of leads into what we are going to expect for the next episode of Bleach, and it's just incredibly exciting, because one of the big things about this, this entire scene, and why I like it so much, is because, as I said, I like Kenpachi for his badass nature, how he is just a brute, but we see a very vulnerable moment of Kenpachi, and I think that this is easily one of the best scenes since, the return of Bleach's anime, besides obviously the Chojuro with Yamamoto. The reason why I like this scene so much is because, like I said, it's rare to see a character like Kenpachi show emotion. Like, the man legitimately, he shows emotion, he realizes he's weak, he actually starts to cry. He cries in this scene. Like, he legitimately cries, and this is not something you see with Kenpachi. Like I said, he's a character that radiates literally badassery. And seeing this moment for him, where he experiences fear, where he feels like he's going to die, he realizes he's weak, he's not the strongest, everything about that, his entire reality just crashes down around him. And it's such a big moment for his character to really convey to the audience that he isn't this all-perfect brute. He does have a lot of emotion within him, and I love this moment so much. It really adds a lot of character to Zaraki. And I know many might not like vulnerable moments with characters. I know there's a lot of people that are like that, and I know there's probably some out there that do not like this moment showing Kenpachi in such a state, but I think it is a very powerful moment to show some of the strongest characters in a state like this, and him realizing that he might die in any moment, and he's very weak in comparison to Unohana, is just great. Absolutely fantastic scene, and it's a really good display of emotion, and Tite Kubo, the author of Bleach, did a good job with this entire scene. I really love it. Now, to kind of dive a little bit deeper into this, I do want to talk about the overall setup for this, basically the setup for this fight. It is revealed that only one of them are going to walk out of this alive. It is straight up stated when the battle begins that one of them will die. Like, when everything begins, we have the whole talk. We get to see just, the eye patch, Kenpachi's going in 100% serious mode, and then we have, just the realization that maybe Unohana or Zaraki is going to die. And the question is, who will die? It's, this is set up for, the next battle with, the Quincy King, Bach. And I think that it's nice to have these stakes because this is the final arc. And I think people need to realize that when we're in a final arc, deaths are going to happen. And speaking of deaths, I know many people are probably going to draw to the same conclusion as, like, Byakuya. And I do want to talk about that one, actually, because I neglected to talk about that, because there was a fake-out death last week. The reason why Byakuya lived last week, like, in the episode and in the series, is because I remember there was a lot of, like, complaining and toxicity in the Bleach community around that time in the manga, and I know that Tite Kubo got a lot of flack for it. He legitimately got so much hate and flack for killing off Byakuya a few episodes back, or in the manga. And when he did, it got so bad, I think he, like, completely shut his, account down from online, just completely closed it, and then he proceeded to just bring him back. And he, like, disconnected himself from the community. So it's clear that his intentions probably were to fully kill him off. But he brought him back because just the community was just, it was so toxic, he couldn't not listen, so to speak. But, anyways, it's very clear that, Tite Kubo, he wants to be very different. He realized that this is his final arc, and he wanted to go all in, and we're getting a lot of great scenes with this, basically building up, Zaraki and his strength. This is basically an entire training arc for him going on, and it's exciting. It's legitimately exciting. But, anyways, with this out of the way, I do want to talk about the other scene. So there's a great scene here with Ichigo and Renji that I do want to talk about. Their entire conversation is very important. But I guess before I go any further, I want to talk about Kiryu. Can we agree, is this a buff? Like, I think this is a buff. And it's just, let's be honest, people are going to be firsting after this character. This is 100% a buff for her character. And I think nobody probably watching this episode expected it. Like, when she went from, like, what she was to what she is now. It's just like, okay. And I mean, I've already seen a lot of people already using her as thumbnails or talking about her on social media. I'm probably going to do the exact same thing myself, to be honest. But, the point is that just, it's absolutely hilarious just how Tite Kubo sometimes, he can be very down bad for his characters when he draws them. It's funny. It's legitimately funny. Like, this man just does stuff like this. But, anyways, getting on topic, let's get into some serious stuff. Let's talk about Ichigo and Renji's conversation. What makes their conversation very important and what this means going forward. Because I think everybody watching this episode probably have the same mindset as Ichigo. Basically thinking, is this really training? Are they really getting ready for the next battle against Bach, the Quincy's, etc. by just eating and resting in a bath? And I think Ichigo kind of, saying that really does make everybody start to think, yeah, is this really helping them? And Renji's response is very powerful and important. He basically says, like, they were wounded. They were hurt. They were on death's door, etc. They need to rest. They need to eat. They need to get better because they will not help anyone if they are not back to full power. And so this is a much needed moment for them to be able to get stronger, to be able to go into the final fight. So I think that this is a very nice convo. I know many might not care about it, but I really enjoy this conversation between Renji and Ichigo because Renji and Ichigo, they have a lot of history. We know this since the very beginning of the story. And Ichigo, obviously, he holds a lot of weight and blame on himself because he wasn't able to protect Soul Society like he wanted, and he lost his fight. This is a really nice wake-up call, and Renji's pushing Ichigo into the right direction. Now, with that out of the way, I do want to talk about a few things, though, before this scene kind of ends. We kind of find out that, all of the Squad Zero, the individual captains here of Squad Zero, they are, like, their history of Soul Society itself. Like, for instance, we have Kiryu. She was someone that created, like, Kong. Like, she created, like, the artificial soul, so to speak. And so this lets us know that she is incredibly powerful. There is a lot of lore we get with, this episode. Come to find out, one of Squad Zero was actually the creator of the Zanpakuto, the swords. So it's like, whoa, the creator of the Zanpakuto. That really is just like, that man must be very strong to be able to do something like that. And so, I don't know, I really love the lore and the setup that this episode does. And I don't know, Kubo has very fascinating lore, and I think that was one of the biggest things about, like, you know, the rushed ending, like, you know, how Shonen Jump and everything else that happened with Bleach. It was the biggest disappointment because it's like, it's clear that Kubo really has a lot to say. He has a lot of story, a lot to say, and his world is very fascinating. There's a lot of fascinating elements to his story, and I'm glad that the anime's been adding in a lot of stuff. I'm really happy with that, and I think everybody can agree. It's really nice to see just the attention to detail and a lot of things being added that just gives more life to Bleach that obviously Tite Kubo wanted with his story. But I guess I want to, you know, leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, you know, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, or leave a dislike if you know, dislike the video. But be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.